everybody. We got a special one for you here today. This is a really old Dell Optiplex GX270 running Windows XP with an Intel Pentium 4 processor in it. This was before i-Core, i3, i5, i7s. This is really old. I tried to get on the Dell website to get specifics on the components in this system and any dates or anything, but Dell must have removed all the legacy service tags from their support website, so I could not find anything. So we're going to see if it boots. This could be interesting. I hope it's interesting. So let's go ahead and fire it up here. First thoughts are, is it's quiet? Well, there we go. Optiplex GX270. A little bit of an error message. System battery voltage is low. That would be the CMOS battery is low, which I can understand with the age of this. F1 key to continue. Let's see if it boots. Windows XP. I believe there was a way to tell if it was second edition or not based on the loading bars at the bottom there. It's been too long, I don't remember the specifics of that. But there's our mouse, and there it is. Let's go ahead and click on the name. Now that booted up pretty well for a system of this age. That was not slow at all, but let's go ahead and... Did you hear that? And look at that, the Windows XP screen there. So it does boot. How about that? And it was not slow at all. I imagine it would get slower as we try to use it. But there you go. It's got Windows Excel 2010 on there, if that's any indication. So that's 15 years old. The computer's probably older than that. But we're going to shut it down before I give away any indication as to which customer this may have gone to. So we're going to shut this down and turn it off and go ahead and open it up for you all. I thought I was going to shut it down. There we go. That brings back memories, doesn't it? Well, this is a clamshell model. If you've never heard of that or seen that before, you're in for a treat. So let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, I got the desk cleared off. Let's open this up. This is going to be something for y'all. I wish I had a scale to weigh this thing. It's got to be 15 pounds. It's a beast. So here's the clamshell. See if I can even remember how to do this. I know this is the top because there's the, look at that. So how would you like to work on a computer that opens up like this? Been there, done that. This is a real treat for me. I don't know if it is for anybody else. If you pull hard enough, it does open up the rest of the way. So let's switch the other camera and give you a real look. So right away, bad capacitor right here. Notice that instantly. Let's see what else we can see here. We have the, I think you can see the drives here. You would have access to those this way. They even gave you extra, well, let me see if I can get that in here a little better. In the lid, they gave you extra things here. These would be for hard drives. These would be for the optical drives to mount in the case. So they gave you extra ones to mount there and to mount here. But again, back to the motherboard. You had this shroud here over the processor fan. So yes, this is the processor fan. Not so much a case fan. Because of the shroud, it would suck air out and up, the heat up and off of the processor here. Wow, what a fine example here. So I'm not sure where to start. I'm going to start here. since this is going to be out of view when we do the motherboard, so I'm going to start with this side. Here's an audio cable to the CD-ROM drive. These were commonly needed in the day for if you had audio from the CD, like a music disc. You would require this cable to go to the motherboard so that it would come out the audio ports through the motherboard. Look at this ribbon cable. Notice it does have the disk logo on there for drive 2. Not sure if it has a drive 1 logo. Oh, yeah, it does, right in there. Now, they split this so that it would be easier to move. That's why it has these splits between it. So you can move it, because look at this, you can't do anything with it at this point. But if I don't know if I'd be able to do that, but if you cut lines in it, it moves easier, because if you had two of them side by side here, you would need to have these pretty close together, and this would not move as easily. So that's interesting. Let's go ahead and pull this out of here. They gave you nice handles to pull on to pull these out, so you would not pull on the cable, because you could cause issues with pulling on the cable out of there. So they gave you handles right on the connector. Look at that. March of 04. So 2004, that's maybe 2001, March 4th of 2001. I'm not sure. We're going to find out more though, but that's interesting that they would put a date on the ribbon cable. There's more specifics. There's the gauge, Hung Fu AWM 2678, model number VM 105 Celsius, 150 volt, 30 gauge. Quite interesting. Let's look at the hard drive cable here. Similarly, they had these blue things to pull on to get them up off of there. And again, hard drive 1, hard drive 2, or zip drive. So this must have been in the age of zip drives were popular, or probably at their heyday, or maybe just beginning to get popular. And again, the handle there to pull that out. And again, 20 March of 04. Okay, so that tells me the first is the day. So it is of 2004. What, 21 years ago? Yeah, I guess that's fair to say it's old. IDE 1. Golly, that's wild. Now we have the floppy drive cable. Get out of here. And again, now they had the black handles on here to pull them out, and it is smaller. I think you can see that clearly there for the floppy drive. And let's see what it says here, 10 of March of 04. Now this twist in here was not to make it easier to move. There's not another connector nearby. This was to make it between drive A or drive B for the floppy drive. That's why that twist is in there, because there's only two connectors on it, one to the motherboard, one to the floppy drive. Again, interesting how this one does not say floppy on it, but the other ones have their notes on it. So let's pull the power connectors. Again, these are Molex type power connectors. This is before SATA. Yeah, and then they even labeled these P6, P8, P9. And this obviously is not the typical Molex. That's labeled P4, Power 4, probably for some other kind of drive. You know what? I might have to determine that or look that up, but definitely interesting. So here's that audio cable I spoke about. Get that out of the case. You want to pull the drives out? Simple. You just hold in these two things, slides right out. Let's check the date on this, see if I can find it this time. Let's see, a CD Master 48. So that'd be probably a 48 speed, which was commonly loaded on or noted on disks was the speed. It says April of 2004 right there. So it is from 2004. Wow. Let's see if there's a disk in there. Get my fancy dancy opening tool here and see what's in there. Nothing. All right, so an empty CD-ROM drive. Let's see what other optical drive we can get out of here. Let's get the floppy out. Floppy, Samsung floppy drive. We know it's from 2004, but there are specifics if you care. The other tag here is just made in China and other information. Whoa. Okay. Again, floppy drive, Samsung. I'll try to not hit the camera again. Let's get the hard drive out. What do you think the size on this baby is going to be? Take a guess. I'm covering it up right now. But take a guess. It is a Seagate from 2004. What do you think? Well, 40 gigabytes, if you can read that. Yeah, wow. 40 gigabyte Seagate hard drive. Barracuda, 7,200 RPM. That was pretty impressive for standard desktop computers, so 7,200. The other option was 5,400 RPM. Those were slower and less expensive in the day. Here is where it gives you the jumper cable configuration, or not jump, the jumper configuration for the cables, whether it was cable select, slave, what have you, is right there. And those jumpers are right there beside the Molex, between the Molex and the IDE cable. So you can see those there. All right, that's everything off the front. Now we can focus on the motherboard. Get that in there. We got the power supply here. Let's get that disconnected. And look, there's another tab. I think you can see that. We've seen that on the other videos. So let's get it unscrewed. Then we can remove that power supply and see what it tells us. It seems to be only 2 screws holding the power supply in. Let's see if I'm right about that. Yep. Look at that. And power supply is heavy. Golly. It's pretty heavy for a power supply. Dell model. There you go for the model number. Output 250 watt. That's fairly a lot compared to some other systems we've seen. Serial number, everything in there. This looks fairly good. Let's see here. April 2004, 100% inspection. So they tested it. PSU OK. That was probably the technician's number or initials. But yeah, that's hefty as well. Again, here's that tab. You get a better look at it. And but that's how it was held in. Other than with screws, in addition to the screws, it was held in with that. The CPU fan, let's get that disconnected, the shroud there. This typically had just like a little right here, in fact. You can see that. You lift that up, and then I believe this will lift up. Yep, it lifts up that way. And then the fan is locked in there. So there's the CPU fan. These are just rubber connectors there. So in all actuality, we should be able to just push that right out. And there's the processor fan. It vibrates a little bit, so it was certainly had its use. There's the information on that if you care to look. Okay, now here's the audio cable I spoke about earlier again. Let's do this cable here. This is a ribbon cable, but that is to the front panel where the power button is, the USB cables, things of that sort. So we'll just disconnect that. No handle on that one. They didn't want you pulling that one out, I would imagine. But you know what? There was issues with those. And interesting, it shows the USB logo right on there, USB 2.0. there you go. There's another January of 04. I hope you can see that. Wild. All right, let's look at the RAM. It looks to be a matching set, but let's see if that's accurate. Yep, they are. Those two are crucial. They are all crucial. Being it's a crucial brand of RAM tells me this was probably added afterwards. These are 512 meg each. So that's 2 gig, which is pretty significant. Let's see, DDR-400. So that is PC1 or DDR1, PC1 RAM. Wow. So 4 sticks of RAM for 2 gig. They're all 512. Yep, absolute matched set of 4 sticks of RAM. Okay, here's this cable. This also went to that front connector right there. Again, for this might have been more for the not the USB, because we know the other cable was USB. So this would have been the power or the audio ports possibly that were on the front there. So that is that. All right, let's get the processor out. These green tabs here, you would basically just pull up on them, if I remember right. Yep. You can see there how they were locked in on the sides, and you just pull up and put them back in. You just push. They would be locked in there, and that's how they held the processor in these older systems. One on the back side here as well. 2 clamps, so to speak, somewhat flexible clamps, but they held that processor heatsink in. Then you had tabs here on both sides to separate, to get the actual chunk of aluminum out of there. That's still moist. That is wild. I have to think that was redone at some point. That's incredible to me, actually. Processor. Let's get that out of there. Let's get it cleaned off because it is gooey. Oh, I cut myself a little bit there. But hopefully that doesn't bother anybody. Seeing a little bit of a cut. Let's get this processor out of here. Wow, look at that. There's the pins on that. And to zoom in, yep, Pentium 4. Wow. There you go. I hope that comes across clearly for y'all. Quite a sight. All right, let's get the motherboard out. If you see here, there is a tab here to where you can lift that whole motherboard out while it's still on the tray. Talk about knowing that you're going to need to replace a motherboard. You want to make it easy. Well, there you go. And they would have other motherboards like this that they would just then come by and slide right in, and it would be locked in there. Quite the deal. Oh man, that's pretty wild. So let's pull that out of there. We'll get back to that. So the case, nothing really left. There's no front panel to remove. I guess I could get these ribbon cables off of this other connector here. Again, just to get cables out. This one here, if you can see that goes up through here. Let's see where this actually goes. So this would be the, so this one went from this little board to the front panel where the button is. So that could be the power button. We're learning together here. Let's see if I can get this all the way out. And let's see if we can get to that front panel. Oh, look at this. I forgot to mention that. On the front of the system, this is where the USB ports were. They were hidden underneath this flap. And there's the service tag again. But yeah, 2 USB ports and a headphone jack cleverly disguised behind the Dell logo. Now, the interesting thing, maybe not so interesting, is Dell made systems very similar to this that had this same color gray on a black charcoal case where this would not lift up. It was just there for pretty. The ports may have been right here, but you wouldn't lift it up. So this one, they did that. Again, quite interesting. The other interesting thing with this, if you could, because you could see the feet here, you could have this system setting on its feet or on its side. So what they wanted you to do was twist the Dell logo sideways. You see how that, I think you can see how that twists there. And then the Dell logo would be facing the other way. They made that to where you could twist it so that it would be facing the right way for you. And then it pops right out. Put that around a necklace. But anyways, there you go for that. Now the that other cable I think went to this power button. But this case, still heavy, but lighter than it was. All right. Let's see what we have here. We have the case. We're going to set that down here. I'll take my tool over here. We'll need that again in a minute. This was the CPU fan shroud. We don't need that anymore. Heat sink, that's valuable. The RAM, that's got value to it. These ribbon cables, those and the other audio cables here, those are just going to go in the box with all the other cables. CPU fan, aka case fan. Processor, that'll go in the special box. Hard drive, floppy drive, motherboard. Let's get after the motherboard. Let's get it off this this platter, so to speak, that they have it on to make it easier. Let's get that done. Okay, a few screws here, I'm sure. Right here's one. That cannot be the only screw. No way. No stinking way. Wow, it was the only screw. And then you slide it this way on that cover and it comes right off. Wow. Look at that. Useless stuff there. There's the assembly number if you care. You can see that on there. It says 180304. So I'd say that's March 18th of 2004. Closer look at the motherboard. There's another bad capacitor. I think you can see that there. That one's definitely bad. This was the other bad one we already pointed out. Don't see any others. Interesting. Here are two SATA ports. It had this little clip on it that says ATA 1 and 2. So SATA was just coming out in 04 apparently. It was not widely used, obviously. I'm pretty confident this is an AGP video card slot, and these are just regular PCI. They are not PCI Express. Quite interesting. Let's see if we can get this little guy off of here. We can. Again, little piece of aluminum. Wow. Just wow. See what the bottom shows. Wow, another big chunk of, again, that's how it slipped into that shielding that it was sitting on. Just a crazy experience here. So let's see, there's Dell. I don't know if the Dell logo, maybe some information there for you. There's the Intel coprocessor. There's some information from Dell, probably part numbers and what have you, if you really care. Here's the probably the BIOS, I would think. There. There's an Intel chip of some sort right there. Wow. Let's look at those ports. Here's the LPT port or printer port, serial, 9-pin serial, SVGA, 2 PS2 ports, 4 USB there, 2 USB underneath the Ethernet port, and the audio. So I realize now I missed the tour that I normally do. Not sure if that'll matter, but quite interesting nonetheless. All right, let's open up this power supply. This looks to be in really good shape. It is clean. Notice very little dust in this system. And I know it was used well because I'm familiar with the customer I got it from. I remember the customer. I worked with them for 25 years. A very good customer of mine over the years. And it's just a very pretty clean environment most of the time. Let's open this up. I almost hate destroying this one. I really do. But we're going to open it up and see what's inside. Quite a few screws here. Well, that one kind of went bogus on me. Well, I'm going to have to get my pliers for that one. That one just kind of went sideways on me. Wow. There it goes. Is that going to be enough to open it up? It should be. Now let's get this zip tie here cut so we can get the, let's see what we're going to see. Wow. Again, clean. Now, since I just had this one powered on a little while ago, I'm not going to go sticking my finger around in the power supply. But there are no bad capacitors in there, which is surprising to me. Very clean. Nothing to complain about at all with this. But from 2004, and it does not look all that different from ones that we've seen from 2010, 2012. Power supplies, I think, only changed once the gaming systems became popular. Then you had to have more power and things, and they really got to their different levels. But yeah, how about that? Well, I'm going to do what I said I didn't want to do. I'm going to destroy this power supply. I don't think anybody out there in the retro land would want this power supply. I don't think that's a thing. If it is, I'm sorry, but you'll get over it. You can find computers like this at your local Savers, Goodwill, thrift store. You can find computers like this from time to time. I think if you need one, you will find it there. So there's the cables. And that, get that out of here. Still bleeding a little bit. Well, that was enjoyable for me. I hope you found it enjoyable. Quite the system, quite the memories from years gone by working on these things. And the Dell bad capacitors. It was a known issue. So I'm certain that's what the demise was on this system, were those bad capacitors. But it is what it is. We know the CMOS battery is bad. When we booted it up, it showed us that. I guess I can get these green connectors off the drives. I will have to, I guess I don't have to, but I'm going to, because that's what I do, as I tear things apart. There's that one. Let's get the floppy drive here. And the hard drive. There you go. All right. I think I'm going to call it. So thank you for watching. This one was fun for me. And we'll see how many others we have. I think I have one more older than this yet to tear down. It's a gateway. If you watch some of my videos, I think I have a short video that outlines all the systems I have to tear down, and you'll see the gateway picture there with a zip drive in it. So it might be about the same age of this. I bet it's a little older, but we'll see when we get to tear it down here in the next little bit. So again, thank you for watching. Check out my other videos, and we'll catch you on the next one.